Bango.
Good morning, Mr. Kembo. How are you doing?
I'm great. Welcome to Entrepreneurship Couch.
Glad to be here. Glad to have the opportunity too.
Leroy, on this platform, we try to inspire, encourage, and motivate aspiring and those that are already running their own businesses. We are very grateful to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, entrepreneurship is a really interesting industry to be in. So it's always good to motivate other people that would like to enter the space.
Good. To our viewers across the globe, welcome Leroy Bango, who is an entrepreneur and he has got his own company. He's the founder and CEO of the online media creative platform called Beautiful Zimbabwe. Once again, welcome Leroy.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for having Beautiful Zimbabwe here too.
Leroy, a lot of people would want to hear your story. Tell us briefly, who is Leroy?
Well, my full name is Busani Leroy Bango. I was born and bred in Bulawayo, 1991. So I'm the first of 4 children. I grew up in Kumalo. Basically, growing up, my parents never really restricted me in any way in terms of interests. So let me try whatever I wanted to try, and I believe it's because of that I'm who I am today. So I virtually moved to Harare in 2011, where I studied travel and recreation at University of Technology. And before I went to Chinhoyi, I actually did some entrepreneurial training with Empretech Zimbabwe, which I'll get more into as we go into the interview. So I remember whilst I was at college, I had this drive of wanting to start something. So I believe looking at my upbringing, there are certain things that I did that I'm now doing now, that have helped me grow my business. So fast forward to 3.5 years later, I'm now running a business, which is quite lucrative, and I am surviving, and I'm looking at growing so much in the coming years.
Thank you very much for that brief background, Leroy. Now, what inspired you to start and run a company called Online Beautiful Zimbabwe?
Well, as I said earlier, there are certain behaviors that I did whilst I was growing up. First and foremost, I said that my parents never restricted me. This made me move towards arts. I used to draw as a kid. I used to paint also. I also used to write short stories as a kid, just for fun, Then as I grew older, I started to have an interest in computers, a lot of interest in computers. I remember I used to bother my uncles I had an uncle who owned a computer repair shop. So I was almost always there every weekend, every Friday, every weekend, just learning what he's doing, how to fix a computer and all that stuff. Then when I was now in university, when I started university in 2011, that's when I started Facebook in 2011. So I was really into social media so much, posting whatever I wanted to post and all that stuff. Then I got an interest in graphic design whilst I was doing my tourism on the side. And one other thing I didn't mention, as I was growing up, I was a big fan of wildlife documentaries. My father used to play a lot of wildlife documentaries at home. And I was a fan of Steve Owen. I don't know if you know Steve Owen. He passed away long back. But he was an avid wildlife person, which I really admired. So up till today, I think a mixture of all those things, it all came together for me to start Beautiful Zimbabwe. Now, where the inspiration really, where the catalyst was, I noticed there was a gap within the Zimbabwean tourism industry. This gap was within social media. I noticed that currently, that is at the time when I started Beautiful Zimbabwe, this is like 2016, June 2016, this is after college. I noticed there wasn't a platform that provided really engaging and content that would make a potential traveler want to come and see Zimbabwe. So this was the catalyst for me starting, and I noticed there was a gap within the tourism industry. And other thing I noticed was that a lot of players in the industry are not really putting much importance in social media. So I decided on that day that let me start a social media business that markets destinations in Zimbabwe, then eventually grow that business into a tourism media company. So basically, that's the background behind Beautiful Zimbabwe. So it's a mixture of different experiences that I had as I was growing up, and it's just me bringing it all together. So now, when we look at the media side of things, I entered into photography like 3 years back, only 3 years back, and I knew this was a skill that I had to develop in an effort to create content for the page that I had already started. So all my skills are self-taught. Let me just give you a brief background on what Beautiful Zimbabwe is. So Beautiful Zimbabwe is a tourism media business which specializes in photography, videography, graphic design, social media management, and I also do travel agency. So it's basically 5 businesses in one, which way, depending on the current situation, like right now, the current economic situation, of course. Of course, I cannot go out and take events or photograph accommodation facilities, but I know I can do my social media management. I know I can do my graphic design. So basically, that's the thought process behind Beautiful Zimbabwe and how we function.
Leroy, who are your clients? Where do you get your clients, and how do you get those clients?
All right. I'll start with the travel agency side of business, right? To date, we have 30,000 followers on our page over a span of 3.5 years. This is all organic reach. So we market a destination or we market an accommodation facility, right? Then people like and share that post. When they like and share that post, I get a lot of inbox messages of people who want to travel to those places, right? So my market one is my followers on the Facebook page who want to travel to these destinations where I become the travel agent for them, right? I connect them with the service providers. Secondly, my other clients, I work with a lot of NGOs for content creation. Over the past 3 years, whilst I was building Beautiful Zimbabwe, there's been a lot of interest from NGOs within Zimbabwe that wanted me to create content for them after seeing the work I've been doing for Beautiful Zimbabwe. So NGOs are also some of my clients, which include Empretech Zimbabwe, World Hunger Hive, even the EU in Zimbabwe. These are some of the people I've worked with. Then when we come to videography, I also like to do work with upcoming artists, either pro bono or they pay whatever they have. I think this is just my way of giving back to this as a creator, giving back to other creators and helping them achieve what they want. So I spoke about my followers, that is Zimbabweans. My followers include Zimbabweans, include Europeans, include Americans. So it's a mixture of people. Then 2, I talked about the NGOs. 3 is this upcoming creatives. I work with a lot of upcoming creatives just to help them achieve their dream. 4, I also work with organizations such as maybe we can talk about nightclubs, we can talk about bars, we can talk about accounting firms. To date, I've designed logos for about 4 businesses, 4 big businesses, and it has been really, I would say graphic design is one of my strongest traits, which I'm yet to develop more. But also, so we're talking about 4 is organizations. I work with a lot of organizations. Then for social media management, it differs. I work with individuals, I work with upcoming companies. I work with already established brands, and I've also worked with the ZTA, where during one of their social media pushes, where I was actually invited for a tour around Zimbabwe in an effort to raise awareness on Zim tourism and, in a way, change the Zim tourism narrative to the traveler. So basically, those are my clients.
Leroy, a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs always raise the issue to do with seed capital. And most of them, they've actually failed to start and run businesses because of seed capital. In your own case, how did you overcome the issue to do with seed capital?
All right. For me, it was more of I had the right support structure. I mean, when you want to enter into the social media space, you definitely need internet. And you talked about not everyone has seed capital to start. A lot of people, I mean, they blame the unavailability of seed capital, that I don't have money, I can't start a business. For me, I looked for my closest support structures around me. First and foremost, it was my family, my mother and father. My mother and father have always been supportive for whatever I want to do. So they actually pushed me towards starting my own business. Because I really set them down. I was like, I want to start a business, my own business. I really want to quit my job and start this business. At first, they were skeptical, but as supporting parents, they ended up saying, go for it. So that motivation, that drive from my parents, I would say is the first thing that pushed me. Secondly, a key person in my business life is my aunt, right? She provided me the space I could work in, that is internet access and access to an information resource in Empretech Zimbabwe. Now, Empretech Zimbabwe, they have what you call a hub at their offices, where entrepreneurs that have been trained by them can come into that space and really develop their business idea. So that business support has helped me a lot. And I got this business support through my aunt, as I say. Also, my aunt is also an entrepreneur herself. Okay. So she always motivated me, no matter what. Even though it's hard, she always motivated me, no matter what. 3, I also got training support from Empretech Zimbabwe. That's in 2011. I think that planted the seed. And when the seed was planted, it only grew in me as I went through college. What do I really want to do? Which space do I really want to occupy within the business from in Zimbabwe? What change do I want to contribute to Zimbabwe as a whole? So it's not necessarily about money at the end of the day. It's about actually going in and starting something. Look for the relevant support structures around you. Like really inspect the people around you and who can help you. That won't take 20 minutes. That won't even take 30 minutes. I think you can find certain people that can help you without you really spending any money. And as you develop and grow, you start getting clients, you start actually getting money, then reinvesting in the business, then working towards growing that business. So that's how I came up. Support from the parents, access to internet through analyzing your environment, who can help you with free internet. 3, motivation from my aunt. She's a business person, and I really consult with her a lot. So this has helped me in making decisions for Beautiful Zimbabwe and really growing Beautiful Zimbabwe as a reputable media company.
Leroy, my next question is going now to focus on a lot of young people your age are busy preparing CVs. They are looking for employment. You're still youthful. You still have got the energy. Why have you not been throwing CVs around and you have decided to start and run your own company?
Well, I believe people are different, right? You find that there are certain individuals that really blossom and really succeed when they're employed, But I believe eventually the thought of starting your own business should you should really entertain that thought eventually. Okay, for me, in my case, um, I don't know if it's me being the firstborn, but as the firstborn, I always had this drive to achieve something that is my own, that is my baby. So in my case, I did work in the industry for a while, you know, but I found myself really frustrated with the environment I'm working in, mainly because of unfulfilled promises from some of the owners. So this really pushed me, and mind you, I was running the Beautiful Zimbabwe page whilst I was working. So I was getting a bit of business for Beautiful Zimbabwe whilst I was working. Then just one day I was like, you know what? Uh, Let me just quit this job and start my own business. And that happened to be the time where ZTA noticed my efforts online and really called me in and said that please come in for a tour around Zimbabwe so that you document the beauty of the country. So I believe there are people that are good for the work environment, but the work environment, I believe, shouldn't be the end of your journey. I think if you work in the banking sector for like 10 years, you know, or 15 years, it's good to really move away from that position and start a business that will employ other people, where you can use your experience, where you can use all the knowledge you've attained over those 15 years to impart to other individuals. So it's like a cycle like this. It's like a cycle. So for me, in my case, I really didn't want to stay in the employment sector for long because I already wanted to start my business. Because as I was growing up, the environment I was in pointed towards me being an entrepreneur. My grandfather was an entrepreneur. My father, whilst I was growing up, I knew he had a job, but he had other side hustles on the side. You know, my aunt is an entrepreneur, a very successful one. So I think the environment I grow in, or the environment you grow in, might determine where you eventually start. But I believe when you are employed, or when you get employed for a while, 10 years, 15 years, I think it's your duty to really quit and start a business using your knowledge, using your expertise, and impart the knowledge to other people and employ more people so that it becomes a cycle of growth, which eventually will lead to national growth. So that's my thought on the issue of CVs. And, you know, in throwing out CVs, in starting your own business, you have the power to really show the world what you really want and really impose on them what's your legacy, or build your legacy by imposing it on them. This is what I want you people to know me for. So I think that sort of satisfaction for me trumps any job.
Yeah. Leroy, where to the next 5 to 10 years, where are we going to see the beautiful Zimbabwe company?
All right, that's a very good question. So next 5 to 10 years, I'll start with the 5 years. For 5 years, for me, it's mainly brand building. I want to establish Beautiful Zimbabwe as a leader in tourism brand building. So within the next 5 years, I see the business getting 6 more employees. I'll say 2 graphic designers, 2 social media managers, and 2 content creators. I believe this skill set will be necessary for me to really revolutionize tourism branding in Zimbabwe, and in that effort, actually change the Zim tourism narrative to a narrative that encourages local travel, encourages internationals to come to Zimbabwe, because Zimbabwe has so much to offer that has not been shown to the world. So I foresee growth in terms of employees for a social media drive that's more focused on growing the Beautiful Zimbabwe brand as a leading brand building tourism company. That's the next 5 years. 10 years, now my focus would have shifted towards hopefully Beautiful Zimbabwe will be an established tour operator in Zimbabwe. Now, as a tour operator, we'll be providing transport services, we'll be providing airline ticket services, booking services. We'll be providing, hopefully we'll be having one property as an accommodation facility under Beautiful Zimbabwe. 4, we'll be providing itineraries for tourists, that is walking tourists that will be coming in. And I foresee, I'm looking at 4 offices around Zimbabwe in 4 key areas around Zimbabwe, 5 key areas around Zimbabwe, which is Bulawayo, Harare, Kariba, Nyanga, and Vic Falls. So I'm looking at offices in those areas. Being an online business, my advantage is that you don't need too many employees, because most people will be working online. And so within each of these places, I'm looking at like 4 employees each. So first 5 years, we want to be one of the leading tourism brand building companies in Zimbabwe. 10 years, one of the leading tour operating companies in Zimbabwe, basically. Yeah. That's what I'm seeing. I guess I'll work it out as it goes.
Leroy, we cannot talk of entrepreneurship without talking about employment creation and empowerment. Yes. What have you done and what do you still continue doing to ensure employment creation and empowerment?
All right. As I mentioned earlier, I do work with upcoming creatives. So within the social media space, there's a lot of work that has to be done, which is within preparing the posts, creating the content, or capturing the content that you will be posting on the pages. So I've called in, like when I'm on assignment in a certain destination. Sometimes I've called in upcoming entrepreneurs that want to enter the content creation space, and actually went with them, shot with them, whilst I also teach them some of my skills as I'm working, you know. So in that way, I've created what you call intermittent employment, I would say, where I call in someone who's an upcoming creative. He comes with me. Then when he's good, I'll call him again for the job. So I'm creating a sort of income, intermittent income for that creator. And I'm also creating access to the media space and the content creation space with the connections that I've already established in the business. Now, in terms of empowerment, well, I view empowerment as twofold. You know, first and foremost, I believe your success is your responsibility. No one else will determine your success except yourself. So I also believe in, as an individual, you should really talk to yourself internally and really do some self-introspect on the type of person you are and which way can you empower yourself once you know who you are, basically. And also on the issue of empowerment, it also takes a lot of effort from you. All the skills that I have, photo, video, graphic design, social media management, all these are self-taught. And right now we're living in the age of technology. And as the youth, there's nothing that is more ours than technology, I would say. Technology is our reservoir of information. So all the skills that I have are self-taught through YouTube, through tutorials, all that stuff. So empowerment is in your hands, really. You know, all the information is out there. It's all, now the issue is, do you know yourself? Once you know yourself, which tools am I going to use to to really develop myself and make a business of myself. Usually, it's best to make a business that's closely linked to your likes, things that you like, or your hobbies, and just provide a different narrative that's unique to you and also unique to the viewers that will be viewing your content. Or it depends on whatever business you're in. Just make sure it comes from within, and I assure you to always be a success and be persistent and be driven every single day. Just be meaningful to you. So empowerment is a personal thing. That's what I believe.
Leroy, we are running out of time, but I want to make sure that we make use of this time and we provide our viewers with useful information.
Yes.
I would want to know from you, as an entrepreneur who is a creative and technologically advanced entrepreneur, what are the available opportunities in the creative and technology sector?
Oh man, the opportunities are so endless. I mean, as I mentioned, my business is 5-in-1, and I learned all those skills through YouTube. That's one opportunity. That's one very big opportunity for someone who wants to enter the creative space. But besides YouTube, there are platforms such as the Skillshare. Now for Skillshare, there are so many tutorials on there, and it's quite affordable. There's a monthly subscription that is quite affordable. So the skill set ranges from mathematics, accounts, graphic design, web design, all for an affordable fee. So I think the internet is an opportunity first and foremost in that space. Secondly, within the tourism industry, I believe there's really a space for content creators that are closely linked to technology. We're talking about your web designers, your graphic designers, photographers, and videographers. I'm saying this because there is a gap within the industry where service providers have not really embraced social media management, you know. And at this time right now, social media management and content creation are really important things during this pandemic. So that's an opportunity that's there for anyone who wants to enter the content creation space. So I talked about the information reservoir, which is the internet, is a perennial opportunity. Secondly, within the industry, there's a gap. There's a social media gap, especially for upcoming businesses within the social media industry, upcoming accommodation facilities in the industry. Some of them don't really value social media management. Or some of them, the person who's probably managing the social media management does not understand the psyche behind it. So that's a gap that's there. Zimbabwe has a lot of opportunity to grow the space, the app space. I think the app space is one that's really not yet mature yet in Zimbabwe, but really successful. If you look at what Via is doing right now, I mean, it's quite lucrative for them, and it's all through an app, you know. So that's a space that's one can really get into and can really make a lot of money in. As a fifth opportunity, I believe there is a lot of, right now, there are a lot of summits or a lot of talks on technology and digital marketing. I mean, you can find this anywhere, whether on Facebook, whether on LinkedIn, whether on Twitter. You can just join one of those and really see where the world is going, because of this pandemic, things won't be the same afterwards. It definitely won't be the same. And social media and content creation will become very important eventually. So I would suggest you join one of these webinars where they talk about digital marketing and all that stuff. So I believe these are the opportunities that are there right now that are really in reach for anyone at the moment. Yeah.
Leroy, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected a lot of businesses. How has this affected your own business?
Yeah, it has had a negative impact. It's crazy. I mean, first and foremost, I cannot go outside to capture content, whether for tourism facilities, whether for events, whether for NGOs that need documentation of the work they do outside there. So it, it has negatively affected my business definitely. But fortunately, my business is five in one. So I'm focusing a lot on graphic design. I think I have two clients now that I'm working with, graphic design. I'm also focusing a lot on social media management. I think I have 4 pages that I'm managing right now, of which payment can be done online, which is really convenient for me. And right now, I'm also looking at my old footage from long back and really creating new footage for the coming future. And also, I'm also building my tourism networks within Southern Africa and within Zimbabwe. And I now have like 3 projects that are coming up when this lockdown is lifted. So yes, lockdown, this pandemic has been bad for the business holistically, but it has given me time to really firstly catch up with my old content and create new content for the future, which can potentially give me more business. It has given me time to really focus on graphic design and also improve some of my skills within that field. It has also given me opportunity to focus on social media management, because I think if the lockdown is lifted, you become so busy with all these things. So this lockdown, yes, it has been negative, but definitely there are positives that I can take from it. So um, also, it really confirms that having multiple sources of income, or having a business that has multiple sources of income, really helps in case there are situations like this pandemic.
Leroy, I am very grateful for the time that we've had, but before you can go, I would want you to share advice, motivation, and inspiration, especially to young entrepreneurs and those that may be thinking of giving up. What are your last words?
Well, what I would say is, as a potential entrepreneur or someone who is about to give up, I think positive self-talk is very, 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 very important. As an individual, you should always talk positively to yourself. That inner voice, I will do it, I will make it, all the time. That positive thing. One, that will help you push through the bad days. As an entrepreneur, it's not all good days. They are bad days. So that positive self-talk will help you push through those bad days. Even though you don't do as much as you do if you're at 100%, but as long as you do something, as they say, trust the process. It's always good to. Sometimes you have to force yourself and do that little bit that will get you closer to your goal. So positive self-talk is important. Secondly, patience is key. I mean, if you look at the biggest organizations in the world right now, it took time for them to really achieve what they have achieved. So the process is really important. If you're a person who wants to enter the creative skill, take time to learn that skill. Take time to ask for feedback from other people. How do I do this? Take time to ask for feedback from professionals, and also look for a mentor. A mentor is really important because they'll give you solutions to some of the problems that you'd have when you're an upcoming entrepreneur. Trust the process. Third thing is always, always, always look for your passions and try to make money out of your passions. That is a very important one, because if you look for your passion, you'll never get bored in doing what you're doing, because you love what you're doing. It will now be an issue of surrounding yourself with the right people that will make your goal a success. So basically, that's the advice I have for the young entrepreneurs or someone who wants to come up as an entrepreneur.
To our viewers across the globe, that was Leroy Bango, an entrepreneur who has decided to specialize in creative and online technology. May you continue to subscribe and make sure that we benefit. Our aim on the platform is to try and make sure that we shorten the learning curve. Once again, Leroy, we hope to be talking to you very soon. In fact, we need to talk to you about the tourism sector after the lockdown.
All right, I'll be glad. I will be glad to share my thoughts on that.
Okay, thanks very much, Leroy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kembo. Stay safe.
Welcome.